Ho, ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Oh, it's December 11th, 14th, mistletoe Christmas! 14th, mistletoe Christmas! I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I hope you're excited too, my friends. I hope you're excited not only for Christmas and the holiday season, but AMXbooks. That's what I hope you're excited for. I'm going to talk about it. Don't tell anybody, but I'm going to talk about it here in a minute. Yesterday, the 10th, Monday the 10th, I sat down virtually across from Aaron Cafaro, who is, I believe it was 8 and 12, 2008 and 2012, and in addition to that, multiple-time world champion, Olympic champion rower, Aaron Cafaro, whose husband, Brian McKenzie, wrote the book Unplugged, which we covered on the show. I was able to sit and talk with her virtually, ask her about all things. It was an incredible conversation. The fact that I get to do this for a living blows my mind. I got to hear so much about more than just the sport of rowing. It was actually less about rowing, more about psyche, mindset, life, all of these things that we talk about and study here on AMXbooks. We got to talk about that stuff, and it was tremendous. And that'll be coming out in the coming weeks. So thank you very much, Aaron, for that. Thank you. Remember, AMX Talks, which are my interviews. They come out on Thursdays. I think this episode, maybe 209, coming out this Thursday. Today's Tuesday the 11th, 12th, be coming out the 13th. Not her interview per se, but an interview with an incredibly insightful, intriguing, smart, intelligent, friendly person. Let's jump into AMX Books 632. Ready? Un, deux, trois, go. Hold on. I gotta plug my microphone in. I gotta plug my microphone in. I went like this, un, deux, trois. And I thought, where's that thing that is like right here that I normally talk into? And then it occurred to me, I don't have it. What don't I have? This right here, the microphone. A singer can't sing without a mic. Well, I guess he or she can, but a podcaster needs a mic to podcast. All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll. 1, 2, 3, go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is the Spaniard, and this is AMX Book 632. I love this stuff. I love it, and I'm thankful and grateful for you being here. We're studying the book, The Boys in the Boat. Coming down the home stretch, we have a couple more days here. The Boys in the Boat. You can get this book as well as every other book I read at charliespaniard.com/reading list. Yesterday, we started to talk about the enigma that is Joe Rance. Remember, we learned that rowing, like many other things, actually kind of like being a human, rowing is extremely dependent upon other people. It's this balance of this ego and self-confidence in this, I'm going to get after it and I'm going to get it done, balanced with this total vulnerability of self, giving yourself, because there's seven possible other rowers with you. There's smaller teams as well, but you've got to contribute to the whole. It's not just about you. Remember, Joe Rance's insult was that he was, quote, Mr. Individuality. So we're talking about this enigma that is Joe Rance, who's the main character of our story. He wasn't always on. He was on sometimes, but he wasn't always on. And I could really relate to this. As a former athlete, a former high-level athlete, there were days, especially when I was younger, when I was on. But then there were days when I just didn't believe and I was off, and you feel like the whole world's against you. And let me tell you something, in a fight especially, but in a wrestling match, when you're on a mat in front of an arena or a gymnasium full of people, or you're in a fight in a cage in an arena full of people, and you don't believe in yourself, that sucks. That is the scariest, most intimidating feeling in the world. And that's what drives us to this level of preparation, because you don't want that. So let's get back to Joe Rance and the enigma that is Joe Rance. And at a point, Ulbrichtson said, hey, George Pocock, can you please talk to this guy? Can you please figure him out? So Pocock asked him, quote, about his likes and dislikes, the things that made him get up in the morning, the things he feared. He most wanted to know, why do you row? So when he's George Pocock, who is our Mr. Miyagi, who is our sixth sense, who is our guide, and who is our mentor, who offers insight and expertise, when he's trying to get to the bottom of Joe Rance, most of all, he wants to know, why do you row? And he learns, as we have learned, the void that being rejected by his parents at a young age has left in him, that it was his search, his quest for wholeness, his quest for belonging. As much, and I'll talk about this, as much as he wanted to be on his own, it was this quest and this sense of wholeness that he eventually found in his rowing team. Quote, George Pocock, quote, he began to close in on the essence of Joe Rance. So I'm asking you, okay? So George Pocock, in order to get to the essence of Joe Rance, he wanted to know what gets you up in the morning, what do you like, what do you dislike, what do you fear, what aren't you afraid of, what gets you going, what doesn't get you going, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, he wants to know, why do you row? Why? Why do you row? What is it? Because once we know that, then we can get to the bottom of you and we can fix it. So I'm asking you, why do you row? Whatever your rowing is, why do you do it? Whatever that burning fire deep inside of you, whether it's rebuilding houses, whether it's pursuing something that you don't even know, you haven't put your finger on, whether it's podcasting, whether it's committing to daily AMXing it, whether it's reading books, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's you have a fire in your belly to be the best parent, the best teacher, the best coach that there ever was. Why do you do it? And it's not just a put it out there. This is no, actually do something with it. So when I made this note yesterday and I had to answer that question, why do I do it? To be the best. I do it to be the best. I can remember for way back seeing Rocky when I was a kid. Boom, that struck me in the heart. That struck me in the soul. To be good enough. I've had feelings. I've been plagued by feelings of inadequacy my entire life. Why? I don't know. Maybe that's another quest to figure that out. But why do I do that? Why do I commit to these things? To be the best. To be good enough. For that dejected kid, when I was a teacher and I would look to the side and I would see a kid in the hall who had nothing going for him and her, who had their eyes down, zero confidence, zero friends, they felt like the whole world against them. I do it for that kid, that they might hear AMX Kids and it might do something good for them. That help wanted sign, right? I saw that help wanted sign when I was a kid and I thought, man, I want to help them. I really want to help them. It was just something I felt. I just want to help people. And if we go back to the Milton Hershey quote, one is only happy in proportion as he makes others feel happy. I think you and me and everyone else should strive to be the happiest people on earth. Why? Because we'd be making other people the happiest people on earth. Moving into Joe, so answer that question for don't just let it go off into the ether. Answer that question. Why do you do what you do? I want to talk a little bit about opening yourself up. Coming into Joe's junior year, he struggled. He was demoted. This book does a great job of painting the reality of competition. It is not smooth sailing. It is not, okay, you won the freshman national championship. You're gold for the next 4 years. You know, you see a freshman. I see a freshman come into Division I Nationals. They win Division I Nationals. It's not a guarantee they're going to win for the next 3 years. It's actually going to be harder for them to win the next 3 years because they are out to be gotten. So Joe Rance come back his sophomore year, his junior year, and he struggled. He's demoted. Quote, he found himself. I miss something. What do I miss? Quote, he missed the low-key camaraderie that had grown amongst his sophomore classmates after 2 years of rowing and winning together. When he was abandoned as a child, he promised himself he'd never depend on anyone else, not even Joyce, for his happiness or his sense of who he was. He began to see that he allowed himself to do exactly that. This show is for Gracie and Rocky. So what I'm going to say to Gracie and Rocky is this. When you open yourself up to other people, there is a risk of being hurt. There's a risk of being hurt. The odds are probably such that in your life you will be hurt. But I believe the essence of being a human being, the essence of being here on earth, the essence of connecting with other human beings makes it such that that risk is worth it. Opening himself up, Joe, to his teammates, it's something he swore he would never do, ever. And he did it, and now he got rejected, and he feels that pain again, and he'll do it again. He'll open himself up again. And what you'll read if you read the book is how it ends. And you'll read that according to this book, according to old Spanny, it is well worth the risk of that pain. And I want to talk briefly about leadership. So I learned a new word. I had heard it. I'd seen it before. Coxswain. C-O-X-S-W-A-I-N. I was talking to Aaron yesterday, our gold medalist rower who's going to be on the show here in a bit. I was talking to her and she said coxswain. And I was like, that's that word. To me, I would have said coxswain. So then I Googled it. I looked on Google, on YouTube, and it is pronounced both ways, coxswain, coxswain. And it is the leader of the boat, the person who calls the boat, the person who steers the boat, the person who commands the boat. Bobby Mock, of whom they speak about largely in this book, and of great respect and honor, they talk about Bobby Mock, who was the coxswain. Quote, this is talking about the coxswain, and this ties into leadership. Quote, from the moment the shell is launched, the coxswain is the captain of the boat. He or she must exert complete control, both physical and psychological. They know their oarsmen inside and out, individual strengths and vulnerabilities, to get the most out of each man. They have the force of character to inspire exhausted rowers to dig deeper and try harder, even when all seems lost. Why do I share that with you? Because let's go back to George Pocock's ideal, the lifelong pursuit of the ideal. That's where it's at. And as a leader, it is up to you to know the individual strengths and weaknesses, the vulnerabilities, to get the most out of your people. It's not for them to do it for themselves. It's for you to do it for them in the spirit of leadership, in the spirit of every stinking thing we're talking about. Thanks for tuning in, folks. If you'd like to help support the show, patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard. See ya. I can't help but go back to Jordan Peterson saying, look at those things, observe those things that feel right in your life. Observe those things that feel right and ask yourself, why did it feel right? Ask yourself, how do I get more of that? Ask yourself, what is it about that thing that made it feel right? And start to understand it. Maybe why. Maybe that's what I'm talking about earlier when I say, why do you do what you do? This here, you, the 4 of you who are watching live, the maybe 200 who will see this afterwards, you're why. Because all of this, the magic that is in The Boys in the Boat, the magic that is in all of these books, the magic that is in these books, right? The magic that is of this man, Mr. Rogers, that's why the heck I do what I do. And I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate you on this ride with me. So, my friends, until tomorrow, I will see you, AMXbooks 633. Quick reminder, AMX Kids comes out today, 4 p.m. Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe, my friends. Spaniard Show on iTunes, youtube.com/Charlie Spaniard, facebook.com/Charlie Spaniard. See you.